Canelo, there's a lot of articles and social media news floating around saying that you could potentially be negotiating with Terence Crawford directly for a main fight. Any truth to that?
No, I'm working in other things. Now I'm enjoying my family. I'm not talking about boxing yet.
Yeah.
So maybe in January we're gonna start doing that.
Where do things stand with Turkey? Turkey said he would like to open a line of communication with you. No middlemen, just you and him.
I never say no to business. So if it is a business for me, I'm open to talk, no matter what.
Anything else for Chula Vista?
No, thank you everybody from Chula Vista. Thank you for
a fight with you and Terence Crawford. It would be one of the biggest in boxing.
We don't talking about yet about the fight. Me and we're gonna know each other, and then we wanna see what happens.
And when do you want to get out next? I know you're here in London tonight. When are you going to be in a camp?
Huh?
When are you going to be in a camp? I know you're
in camp, training camp in March.
Okay, so
at the beginning of the middle of the February or March. Yeah.
In a major update for the boxing world, Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford have officially agreed to fight in a super middleweight bout set for September 2025 at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. The announcement has sparked huge excitement among fans, as it features a clash between two of the sport's most accomplished fighters.
What's up, fight fans? Some breaking news. This guy, Julius Julianis, who's an ESPN Knockouts reporter, is reporting that the fight isn't only about to be announced, but the contracts are signed between none other than Canelo Alvarez and Bud Crawford. In Julianis' report, he claims that this fight has been signed, sealed, delivered, and it's going down this September in Las Vegas. We know Canelo was in London for the Ring Magazine Awards with Turki Al-Sheikh, seemingly shaking hands as business partners. And just today, as a few hours ago, Bud Crawford landed in London and was seen with Turki Al-Sheikh this September. It's official. What are your thoughts? This headline is all the details the Ring Magazine put out about 2 hours ago. Canelo Alvarez and Bud Crawford, the fight is off. Guys, are they just messing with us for real? Because this is 48 hours removed from them reporting the location. First ever stadium fight, Allegiant Stadium. Even though the fight was 7 months away in September, this in everybody's eyes was going on. And then all of a sudden, the Ring Magazine, Turki Al-Sheikh, releases this with no other details. Canelo Alvarez and Bud Crawford in September is off.
The deal for this highly anticipated fight was finalized in January 2025, setting up a historic showdown. Canelo Alvarez, the undisputed super middleweight champion, holds an outstanding record of 62 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws, with 39 of those wins coming by knockout. His opponent, Terence "Bud" Crawford, is unbeaten with 41 wins and 31 knockouts, and currently holds the title of undisputed welterweight champion. This fight will mark Crawford's jump to the super middleweight division as he looks to add to his legacy by taking on Alvarez.
All right, let's talk Canelo Crawford, Jake Paul again. Let's try and give a timeline of events. So on Tuesday, Ring Magazine confirmed that Canelo Crawford was on for September 13th, Raiders Stadium. That's what we got on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we started hearing whispers of Jake Paul. It sounded crazy at the time. I did a video on it. I said that's impossible. But then those whispers became louder and louder and louder. On Thursday, Ring Magazine reported that Canelo Crawford was off. Thursday evening, so just after me and G-Man had filmed, we got reports that Jake Paul versus Canelo, or Canelo versus Jake Paul, was very much a real thing and was close to being signed off, and that would have happened on Netflix. About 2 hours later, we got confirmation that Canelo versus Jake Paul is now not a thing and is off, and that Canelo has signed a 4-fight deal with Riyadh Season, and Turkey went on social media talking about he's the lion and don't mess with the lion and things like that, which I thought was quite funny. Canelo versus Crawford is now back on, and that will happen in September. Canelo versus Jake Paul is now off and won't happen for at least another couple of years. Yeah, I think that's where we are.
In a recent turn of events, Jake Paul has openly criticized Canelo Alvarez for signing a 4-fight deal with Riyadh Season, which resulted in the cancellation of their expected matchup. Paul accused Canelo of dodging tough opponents like Terence Crawford due to growing public pressure. He claimed that Canelo is now tied to Riyadh Season, suggesting that money played a big role in his decision to steer clear of more competitive fights.
Oh, Canelo, you puta.
And this fucking YouTuber. I just fight real fighters.
Time to expose him. So we had a signed contract to fight. Here you can see Canelo's signature and my signature to the right. Claiming he's not fighting YouTubers. Bullshit. Look at the poster. We were announcing Tuesday, February 11th. Claiming he fights real fighters, but he's fighting Crawford, a 135-pound fighter, and running from a real fighter like David Benavidez, you bitch. The truth is you can be bought. You're a money-hungry squirrel chasing your next nut. The truth is these sports-washing shady characters are paying you hundreds of millions of dollars to stop our fight from happening because they couldn't fathom the fact that they can't create a bigger fight than me and you. Al Heyman has made you hundreds of millions of dollars and you turned your back on him for this check. Disloyal. And you were begging to do this fight on pay-per-view. But I have loyalty. Loyalty to Netflix, doing the biggest numbers. And you call me a YouTuber, but you've never had a boxing match as big as mine. Remember you told my team that your daughter came home and asked if you were fighting Jake Paul? She was all excited. You said that was the first time your daughter's ever asked you about a fight. And you're screwing over all your Mexican fans by doing your fights in Saudi. It just shows what type of person you are. And I promise you one thing, Canelo. Any fight that you do this year, mine will be bigger. So go fuck off to your boss, you Ring Magazine employee, you pink and orange bitch. And oh, fix that herpes on your lip, you dirty puta.
At a recent live press conference, Canelo Alvarez sent a clear warning to Terence Crawford, firmly stating his control over the super middleweight division. He said, "This is my territory. Crawford is a great fighter, but entering my division is a whole different challenge. I'm ready to prove why I'm the champion here." Alvarez's confident words reflect his strong intent to defend his titles against a skilled opponent stepping up in weight.
How is Crawford going to be able to bridge this weight gap?
Yeah, I don't think he can, in all honesty. I mean, he might not be able to bridge it on Saturday.
Yeah.
So,
one weight class.
68, yeah, but you're coming up from 35. 35, 40, 47, 54. Sooner or later, it's one too many. And 68 is definitely too many. But Crawford's brilliant. Like, he's a genius. He's a generational great. So maybe he can find a way to do it. But I feel he'd be hugely outsized against Canelo Alvarez. Yeah. But you have to use your movement if you're Terence Crawford in that fight. The last thing you want to do is stand and trade. He'd be moving a lot in that fight, trust me. I'm not saying he'd be running, but he would be moving a lot. Of course, that's the way to beat him.
Yeah.
You know.
Canelo Alvarez, known for his power and smart fighting style, is widely regarded as one of the top pound-for-pound boxers in the world. Terence Crawford, a 4-division world champion, brings speed, accuracy, and adaptability to the ring. This matchup of different strengths and styles has fans excited, with many expecting it to be one of the biggest boxing events of the year.
When Terence Crawford said that he moved up and won, and Canelo moved up and lost.
They talk all the crazy stuff about me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost. That's the difference. I went up weight and won.
I don't think that was a strong point because Canelo Alvarez actually moved up and won. I mean, he moved up a lot of weight classes, but if you want to talk about light heavyweight, he moved up and he beat Cole. Then he moved up again and he lost to Beverly. Terence Crawford, on the other hand, he moves up to 154. He won 115, 113, but it was just an 11-0 Madrimov who didn't really have much of a resume, right? But there's a difference, to be real. I mean, Bivol is a Hall of Fame. Okay, this guy, all-time light heavyweight. It's a bit different. Canelo did knock out Kovalev when he did move up. Okay, and Kovalev is a bigger challenge at light heavyweight than Madrimov at 154 for Terence Crawford. Let's just keep it a bit.
Canelo Alvarez stands as a dominant figure in the super middleweight division with a strong record of 62 wins and 2 losses. He's shown he can perform well in higher weight classes, using his power, speed, and experience to challenge any opponent. Sean Porter has raised concerns about how Terence Crawford will deal with Canelo's punching strength, given Canelo's known ability to land heavy shots. Porter questions whether Crawford can handle that kind of power, especially with a jump in weight. This reflects a wider concern about whether Crawford can physically manage facing a naturally bigger fighter like Canelo.
The others say, like, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Like, once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, you know, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he's still got that kind of steam. But, you know, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a great, a legend. It's just so much to go into. It's a conversation that lasts an hour easily when we talk about all of the components that Terence Crawford has, all of the components that Canelo have, and how we find how they even out and who trumps one another, you know what I mean? We tried to do that with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, and we see how that panned out, you know what I mean? So,
former 4-division world champion Mikey Garcia has shared his thoughts on the upcoming super middleweight fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Garcia believes that Canelo's size and power will play a major role in the outcome. He explained that although Crawford is highly skilled, the big size gap could be a serious issue. Garcia pointed out that Canelo has been fighting at 168 pounds, while Crawford only recently moved up to 154 and showed some struggles at that weight.
I'm not even a fan of that fight. They're too many weight classes apart. And although the skills, Crawford is one of the best fighters that I've seen. Now, Canelo is, you know, fighting at 168. Crawford just moved up to 154, and he had some trouble with that in that fight. Now, where do you plan on going? 164, 65, 66? Yeah. Canelo ain't gonna come down to 160.
Yeah,
Canelo ain't gonna come down, you know, maybe 166 max if he accepts. Yeah. I think Canelo wins that fight based on just the size, power and size. Now, skill-wise, I think Crawford's a better skilled fighter, but the difference in size will be the deciding factor, and that's why I'm not even a fan of that fight. I think Crawford has accomplished everything he had to accomplish. From 140, 147, now 154. That's even great for him. He wants to do something, collect belts at 154. He can attempt that. But there's no money in that compared to the Canelo fight. And Canelo is trying to fight other guys, and you know, at that point, it's more of a big fight, you know, for the money that's gonna generate. But as a fight fan, I'm not really a fan of that matchmaking. I'd rather see Canelo move up and fight somebody like Bitterbeef or Bivol again. Yeah. If he wanted to challenge himself, move up to 175 again, and challenge himself against those guys. Not a smaller guy moving up.
Joel Diaz shared his confidence in Canelo's ability to take on Crawford. While he recognized Crawford as the current pound-for-pound best, Diaz stressed that Canelo's unique skill set and readiness make him a serious threat in this matchup.
A lot of people that say that Crawford can beat Canelo, no problem. I mean, I respect that, but I just think they're stupid. I mean, excuse my language. The size difference of a bigger man changes everything with one punch. And I can see the same thing. I mean, you saw Canelo Alvarez fighting Amir Khan. Now, look at this. Terence Crawford moved from 47 to 54 to fight Madrimov. What did he do to Madrimov? Nothing. Okay, Madrimov was a 54-pounder. Now, to move up to 168, that's 2 more divisions. Canelo Alvarez will take any punch from Crawford, but I don't think Crawford will take any punches from Canelo. Remember, Canelo got hit by Triple G, the heaviest hitter in that division. And Canelo took those shots like a champ. I don't think Crawford has anything to beat Canelo.
When you say, I want Canelo, is there anybody in the camp that would say, you're not ready for this?
That's a big boy. He's strong. That's a conversation. It's not just, oh man, you will whoop his ass.
Like yes, man type stuff.
I'm not worried about Canelo. I'm not thinking about Canelo. I'm just focused on Israel Madrimov.
In a small way, is this a stepping stone to your dream fight?
I don't look at fights as stepping stones. It's about now.
Former world champion Demetrius Andrade believes that although Crawford is a top-level fighter, Canelo's size and experience in higher weight classes give him the upper hand. Andrade thinks Crawford could have trouble dealing with Canelo's power and speed. Moving up 2 weight divisions is no small task, and Crawford is now facing the challenge as he prepares to fight Canelo Alvarez. In his last bout, Crawford fought at 154 pounds and earned a tough win over Israel Madrimov. While he showed skill and flexibility at that weight, stepping up to 168 pounds is a whole new test. At super middleweight, Crawford will face fighters who are not only bigger but naturally stronger and more experienced at that size.
3 times, if you go 154 and win the belt, that's 3 times super. Then I said, chase super greatness. Come on, Canelo, 160.
Well, if he can get in there with Charlo in like his next 2 fights where he still got age on his side, then maybe go up again. Like if he's trying to chase the greatness, but I mean he already done something that's never been done. Charlo don't want none of that smoke.
Terence Crawford, I see he wants to fight. He's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better. No, Terence Crawford is a great fighter. He's a good fighter, but you know, like I say, he's a weight classes for a reason. I'm focused 100% on Berlanga, and you never know what happened.
Yeah.
Unlike his past fights where speed, accuracy, and technique gave him the upper hand, Crawford now faces a new test against a physically stronger opponent like Canelo. Canelo's power, toughness, and experience at super middleweight could reduce some of Crawford's usual advantages, pushing him to rethink his game plan and prepare differently. Jumping to this higher weight class is a major step, and with it comes the challenge of facing harder-hitting, more physically imposing fighters. While Crawford's skills are top tier, it's still uncertain if his power and ability to take punches will hold up at super middleweight.
Just a few weeks ago, you heard what Terence "Bud" Crawford had to say on why he wants to take on Saul Canelo Alvarez.
I just want the opportunity, to fight the best fighter in my generation that's out there. He's the most accomplished fighter, and I would just like to, fight another great.
Which is a very noble reason. I mean, it's a reason that I can get behind. If you notice, his primary reason is money. He did say it'd be the biggest fight, which, you do want a big fight, but I don't think he meant monetarily, which the money comes, okay? But what he's saying is he want to test himself versus the best. And I think he's telling the truth here, right? Of course you want big money and stuff like that, but I think his swan song is just him test himself up against the very best. Those are the reasons the war room can get by.
Robert Garcia has also weighed in on the upcoming fight, leaning toward a Canelo Alvarez win. While he hasn't gone into deep detail, his prediction matches the general view that favors Canelo. Garcia believes that if Terence Crawford takes the fight, it will mostly be for the huge payday it brings. In his view, Crawford has already done enough in his career to secure his legacy and financial future, so fighting Canelo isn't something he needs to do. Still, if the fight happens, Garcia expects Crawford to be very competitive in the early rounds, possibly holding his own through the first 6 to 8 rounds. He credits Crawford's top-level skill, ring intelligence, and strength as key factors that could help him take control early on.
Robert, what's a smart bet on Crawford-Canelo? Canelo by knockout or Canelo by decision?
Crawford by decision. And you have to bet?
Yes.
I say Canelo by decision. Crawford by decision. No, but you say Canelo by knockout or Canelo?
Yeah, no, because I'm saying that's what's going to happen. Canelo's going to beat him. But which one?
I don't know, man. Crawford is fucking gangster. I've always been saying, I think Canelo at the end, obviously his strength, his weight,
experience
probably takes over, but shit, I wouldn't be surprised if Crawford just fucking boxes and fights smart and beats him.
He's probably gonna be 40-1 underdog or something crazy like that, right? It's not gonna be close.
No, it's gonna be close.
3 weight class?
Maybe 3-4-1. No crees?
Nah.
It's not gonna be that big of a difference. No.
When you pick the knockout? No, when you pick the knockout?
You pick a knockout. But if it's just
who wins straight out?
I think it's gonna be maybe 3-1, 4-1. Maybe that's too much. Maybe 2-1. Maybe 2-1.
I don't think so.
Tell me, Yoli.
So they finally announced Ryu's fight. Gary Russell, what do you think? Not easy fight? No easy fights at this level?
That's just...
It's gonna be, finally you guys will be, the first time you're ever going to a Tank fight, right? To work a corner?
To work a corner at Tank's fight?
Is Tank's the main event?
Yeah.
The Alvarez versus Crawford fight is set to be a historic moment in boxing. Alvarez's strength and experience at super middleweight will go up against Crawford's speed, skill, and unbeaten record. Fans and experts alike are excited to see how Crawford adjusts to the new weight class and how Alvarez deals with a fighter as talented as Crawford.
He's gonna be the greatest. You know what I'm saying? Floyd, it was Floyd, and then it's gonna be Terence Crawford. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what's on the line with that fight, right? Canelo and Terence is whose era is it? Yeah. Right?
Nah.
I think Canelo had his time.
Yeah,
Just
Canelo
gonna
had his
submit our
time. Yeah.
Just gonna submit our time.
Yeah, for sure.
What makes Bomac such a great trainer?
He can adapt to any style, bro. Like, he can adapt to any style. First of all, DB3, we all got different styles. And he all been making this better in our own style. He got Troy Eisen. Troy Eisen is a different style. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, he got Avius Griffin. Avius Griffin a different style. Of course, y'all know Jamel Herring and Terence Crawford. All different styles. And he make these fighters great. He can adapt to any style. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes him a...
Do you think Canelo's size and power will wear Crawford down in the later rounds? Or can Crawford's skill and fight IQ lead him to victory? Share your thoughts in the comments below.